I'll just repeat myself. Disney Marvel hasn't made a good movie since Feige took over as chief creative officer in 2019 and clearly doesn't take comics seriously anymore. The people in charge hate superheroes and understand them just enough to crap all over them. Quantumania and the Marvels are the reasons kids get bullied for wearing a Spider-Man shirt to school. Not only do these films make me hate myself, they make me want to go back to school and bully the kid with a Spider-Man shirt. They've managed to upset the fans and the general audience. Every demographic except the imaginary one thinks it's lame. In this video, we'll try to find out which is the saddest and most pathetic part of the Marvels, the characters or the plot. I'm certified fresh on the matter, having watched every bit of content related to these heroes. To find the answer, I created 3 highly detailed and accurate character sheets and performed a frame-by-frame analysis of the dumbest plot point of the Marvels. Let's start with the characters. This team of superheroes is more scuffed than the Justice League and we neither need nor deserve them. I'm not sure what is the most boring aspect of these characters, their personalities or their powers. What I'm sure of, however, is that if you put 3 boring characters with 3 boring powers together, you get a team of boring people with boring abilities. And guess what? They fight a boring villain. So boring, in fact, that they literally put her death in the trailer. That's how much you should care. The reason some people say the film was fun is because I don't understand what's going on. The more you know about the characters, the less sense the film makes. Let's start with the best character, Ms. Marvel. Kamala Khan is Pakistani American and Muslim, which is completely irrelevant in the movie, but it was the most important part of her character in the show. Her powers allow her to create platforms and giant fists. It's riveting. Her origin story is very simple. Aisha, Kamala's great-grandmother, is an exile from the Noor dimension called a clandestine. They are often confused with jinn, genies, or demons, but they're not really related because jinn are from real Islamic folklore and clandestines are inspired by real Islamic folklore, but they're not real Islamic folklore. You see, we all know what genies are, so they had to invent a new term, similar but also completely different, to make it easier. Kamala received her great-grandmother's bangle in the mail from her grandmother, randomly and for no reason. The bangle, also known as a quantum band, can open doors to other dimensions, but it can also awaken the mutant gene. How are these two things related? Don't think about it. What you need to understand is that Kamala's powers have nothing to do with the bangle. The bangle only triggered Kamala's mutant powers because yes, she's a mutant. She's part human, part mutant, part clandestine, part American, part Pakistani, and she's wearing a magical bracelet that has different powers to her own because it has an inscription on it that reminds her of her great-grandmother. Are you still with me? Also, Kamala used the bangle to travel back in time. I'm not sure how that worked, but somehow it did, so let's not worry too much about that. Finally, and this is the part I find a bit confusing, we are told in the Marvels that the bangle absorbs light energy, but Kamala uses light energy with the bangle, so I'm not sure what's going on here. And that's about it. Now, I don't care much for Ms. Marvel, but somehow I got annoyed by a line in the film that shat all over her origin story.
And then her and Kamala just happened to stumble into each other? What are the chances?
What you seek is seeking you. It's inscribed on the bangle.
The writer thought they were being clever by tying the quote into the plot, but unlike with great power comes great responsibility, the line "what you seek is seeking you" is specifically tied to Kamala's family, and that's why she wears the bangle. It's outrageous to steal it to justify the bullshit conveniences of your shitty plot. From the inspirational movie that taught women that they suck at everything in life unless they get superpowers comes Captain Marvel, everyone's favorite addition to the MCU. Carol Danvers is a human with superpowers granted by the Tesseract after an incident involving the Kree. She was then kidnapped and brainwashed by the Kree and given a blood transfusion, so she's part human, part Kree, and her powers are not related to her race. She fought for the Kree against the Skrulls until she got her memory back and started fighting the Kree to protect the Skrulls. Who are the Kree? The Kree are a race that look like humans except when they look like blue aliens. Who are the Skrulls? The Skrulls are a race that look like aliens except when they turn into humans or Kree. If you find any of this confusing, you're not paying attention because it's very simple. This is a scroll, this is a Kree, this is a human, this is a Kree, this is a scroll, this is a scroll, this is a Kree, this is a human, unless all these people are just one scroll. I still don't know why Carol exists and why the Kree haven't killed her or plugged her into something to use as a battery. Her powers are never explained and are completely inconsistent. If I had to describe Carol in one word, it would be normal. She's good, but also not. She's stoic, but also not. She's smart, but also not. She's funny, but also not. She's like a generic character stuck at the beginning of the hero's journey, waiting for something to happen so we can see who she really is. But don't worry, there's a worse character, Monica Rambeau. She's a final addition to the roster. She's first introduced in Captain Marvel, where we are told she's very attached to Carol. She then appears almost 30 years later in WandaVision, where I lost all respect and investment in the character. Wanda, also known dramatically as the Scarlet Witch, held a town of 3,892 people hostage. She turned the people into puppets and used the town as a stage to write her own story.
My name is Sarah. I have a daughter. She's 8. She could be friends with your boys. If you like that storyline, really anything, if you could just let her out of her room, if I could just hold her, please.
While under mind control, they are aware of their surroundings, but are forced to follow Wanda's script. Wanda is a villain.
If you won't let us go, just let us die.
The problem is that Monica doesn't think she's evil and makes the stupidest arguments to defend her. Wanda used her powers to blast Monica out of town.
Monica, she blasted you halfway across New Jersey.
And I survived because she chose to protect me.
What are you talking about? She almost beat me to death, but I survived because she chose to protect me. Do you have brain damage or something? I particularly despise the use of the word protect. It's the same bullshit in Ms. Marvel. Kamala didn't save Zoe, she fixed her mistake. Heroes save and protect people, they don't put them in danger.
She chose to protect me.
She's holding thousands of people hostage.
And it could have been thousands more if she hadn't put up her own quarantine.
So we should be grateful that a terrorist decided to stop at 3,892 victims. Thousands of people mind-controlled, technically tens of thousands of people affected, and you have the audacity to say that she could have enslaved more. Are you stupid? At the end of the show, Wanda decides to dispense quote-unquote justice herself by keeping Agatha under mind control permanently.
You're cruel. Wait. Hiya, hun.
Monica does nothing about it, she doesn't mention it, she just doesn't care, and she's supposed to be a good guy. After that, she tells the villain that she would have done the same thing.
You don't hate me. Given the chance and given your power, I'd bring my mom back. I know I would.
She would torture a city like Wanda if she could, yet she's on a team called the Marvels. What is happening?
They'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
Almost 3 years later, I still don't know what she sacrificed. She lost a lot like all heroes, but she never gave up anything. Read a dictionary. Monica is a stupid and morally bankrupt person who doesn't know the meaning of the words protect and sacrifice. Monica wants to be a terrorist and Carol has the symbol of a genocidal people on her suit, so I guess they have that in common. But it shows how compassionate she is, I hear you say. No, it doesn't. It means she doesn't understand the difference between good and evil.
Heroes don't torture people.
But again, the writers at Disney Marvel don't understand what compassion is. They don't even know what heroes and villains are. Letting a murderer go free is not compassionate. Compassion doesn't exonerate and remove all responsibility. Monica is the worst character by far. She got her powers by going through Wanda's barrier and I have no idea how they work. In the Marvels, she's upset because Carol wasn't there when she was snapped back and she was all alone. I find it very hard to care about this drama. You're 37 years old, you don't have any friends or family, you've made your own choices. It's not Carol's fault you're alone. Monica was born in 1983, Carol disappeared in 1989, came back for a day in 1995 and disappeared again until 2025. Why are you so obsessed with Carol? You keep telling us how important she is to you, but we've never seen you together. And the worst part is that this drama is resolved in 5 seconds in the dumbest way possible.
I'm the reason why the Civil War started in the first place. I'm the reason why they couldn't breathe the air. And I never wanted you to see that version of me.
Carol, that's not how family works. I just wanted you, not.
What a lame excuse. Nobody knows you're the Annihilator and you obviously haven't done anything about it in 30 years, so don't make me laugh. And what do you mean that's not how family works? I don't really care that you killed millions of people, I just wanted my end. What? These 2 scenes are not wholesome, what a garbage character. And here they are, the Marvels. These characters suck. I love how identity is so important to them and yet their powers have nothing to do with their personal experience. They were given to them by bullshit blue color, bullshit red color, and bullshit purple color. I don't know why anyone would care about Monica and Carol. They are shallow, flat, generic, slightly annoying, and uninspiring. Kamala is only tolerable because of the actress. The character and her abilities are generic at best. Their stories are overly complicated, poorly written, and boring, and their powers are not clearly defined, which make them very forgettable. Sure, you could ignore Kamala's backstory and just enjoy the clown show, but you'll never get attached to her. The other two characters in the story are Darben and Fury, but they're both sad losers who don't deserve my time or yours, so let's move on to the plot. The plot is very simple, there isn't one. Instead, there's gimmicks. First, let's talk about the switch. Why do they switch places? Their powers became entangled because Monica and Carol touched an unstable jump point at the same time while Kamala was wearing her bangle. The villain is also wearing one, but she's not entangled because it only affects people with light-based powers. This is a completely shitty explanation that doesn't make any sense and requires too many conditions. Just because you glow doesn't mean it's light-based. Just because you glow doesn't mean you can get entangled. The premise is broken and they stop switching at the end of the film for no reason. The switch has 3 rules. Number 1. Activation. If one person uses their powers, nothing happens. If 2 people use their powers, they switch together. If 3 people use their powers, they all switch at random. Powers remain active after a switch. For example, if Monica and Carol want to fly, they will only switch once during takeoff. What happens if Kamala uses her power afterwards? A good question for another time. Number 2. Orientation. You get the orientation of the person you're switching with. For example, Carol is facing right and jumps, Monica is facing left with her left arm at her side. They switch, Carol is facing left with her left arm at her side, Monica faces right and is in the air. Number 3. Momentum. You gain the momentum of the person you're swapping with. That's it. Pretty simple, right? Well, the great thing about these rules is that the writers never follow them. The activation of the switch has no rules. The first time they switched, Kamala wasn't using her powers. They don't switch when Monica and Kamala use their powers as they fall. They don't switch when they are both flying. At some point we're supposed to believe that Kamala used her powers for no reason in her house with her parents at the exact moment that Monica used her powers for no reason in the space station with Fury at the exact moment that Carol used her powers to fight the Kree. In other words, they switch when the writers want. The orientation after the switch has no rules. When they switch here, Carol takes Monica's stance. When they switch here, Carol and Monica keep their previous stances. A triple swap can happen in 2 different ways. Either they all move to the left or they all move to the right. In this example, the positions of the characters are as follows. They swap once, Kamala takes Monica's place, Monica takes Carol's place, and Carol takes Kamala's place. They swap again, Kamala takes Monica's place, Monica takes Carol's place, and Carol takes Kamala's place. In layman's terms, it means that they switched in the same way twice in a row. Carol took Kamala's place in the first switch and took it again in the second. So if Carol takes Kamala's place twice, how come her orientation is different from Kamala's? This complex data shows that she didn't take Kamala's orientation after the switch and didn't even keep her own. So you keep your orientation, or you gain the orientation of the person you're switching with, or you don't keep your orientation and you don't get the orientation of the person you're switching with. In other words, it's completely random. The momentum after the switch has no rules. Carol keeps her momentum. Carol doesn't keep her momentum. Carol keeps her momentum and Kamala gains Carol's momentum. So you keep your momentum or you gain the momentum of the person you switch with. In other words, it's completely random. I love how there's a training montage where they pretend to learn how to use the switch. There's no way you can coordinate or change your orientation and momentum, especially in the middle of a fight when you can't see each other. Just stop. There's no rules, it's all completely random and doesn't make any sense the more you look at it. Why bother explaining it if you're not going to stick to your rules? If you don't make rules, it means you don't care. But if you make rules and you break them, it means you care but you're too stupid to follow them. And this is extremely important because the momentum should have killed Kamala many times over and the orientation should have killed the bad guy here. Now let's talk about the villain's plan. After destroying the Supreme Intelligence, a civil war broke out and polluted the skies of Hala. Okay, that makes sense. The civil war also caused all the oceans to dry up. Okay, so the water disappeared, sure. The civil war also broke their sun and now it's dying. I don't know what to say. You lost your air, water and sun because of a civil war. That's crazy. Makes Captain America Civil War feel kind of shitty by comparison. Anyway, Darben finds a bangle and uses it to create jump points. She goes to Tarnax to steal the air. The good guys go to Tarnax because one of the soldiers told them where Darben was going for no reason. Then she goes to Aladna to steal the water. The good guys assume Darben is after water and they randomly pick Aladna. Then she goes to Earth to steal the sun. I'm not sure how any of this works, but I'm not a scientist, so what do I know? The villain has chosen these planets to get back at Carol, even though she's clearly afraid of her and has no way of stopping her. So her goal is to restore a planet she can't protect. Not a great plan. At the end of the film, she has both bangles. She put them on and she dies. I don't know why she died. I don't know why Kamala didn't die when she put them on. I don't know what she was trying to do with the bangles at that moment. I don't know why they gave her the worst death scene possible. I don't know why they put her death in the trailer. Anyway, Carol goes into the sun of Hala to restart it, and we're told that all the planets will make a full recovery. What a plot, ladies and gentlemen. The final gimmick involves eggs. Halfway through the movie, there's a 10-second scene about an egg, then a 30-second scene, and suddenly the egg is insanely important. That's not how setups work. This is Ahsoka all over again. Just because you show something 3 times doesn't mean you've written something of value. Imagine you're watching Batman Begins and it randomly cuts to Fox inspecting an egg in the Narrows. Then it's revealed that there's hundreds of eggs in the area. They hatch into Flurkens when Ra's al Ghul activates the microwave emitter. To evacuate the city, Batman tells the Flurkens to eat everyone in the Narrows. He then puts all the Flurkens into the Batmobile and drives out of the city to save everyone. That's what this movie did. It comes out of nowhere, it's silly, unsatisfying, and doesn't fit the tone of the movie. The cutscene and the musical number are attempts to mimic the Guardians of the Galaxy style without the confidence and the actors to pull it off. After a careful analysis of the data, the results are inconclusive. The plot and the characters are both garbage and I can't tell you which is worse. However, I will say that the MCU was built on charismatic and relatable characters, so dumb and boring heroes tend to do more damage than the plot. No Way Home had the stupidest plot imaginable, but it was well received because of the character work.